Are you good to go?
I think, yeah, it didn't pop up on the screen.
It did not? Okay.
No,
Well, hold
so
on.
I guess we're good.
I guess we're good. I'm just going to double check. It's recording, so here's hoping.
Okay, all right.
All right. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Talk to Danielle podcast. I am your host, Danielle C. Baker, and I apologize if you heard all that. We were having some interesting technical difficulties right now. I just want to make sure that we are recording. Yes, we are. Okay. So today, before I start introducing my guest for tonight, I'm going to say the little blurb I always say. So if you want to follow, like, or subscribe to whichever channel you're watching us from, so that you can get the notifications when the new podcasts are coming on, just make sure to hit that button. And today I have, I always say I have an amazing guest, but this one is extra amazing because it's a really good friend of mine. We've known each other forever, at least a good 25 years. We've done a life sentence together. Yeah. So I have with me Mr. I'm going to call him Mr. That's so funny. Wafik Nasralla.
Well, I am a Mr.
You are a Mr.
I identify as a Mr.
That's right. Wafik is, I always say, he's my favorite comedian. Really funny man, and not he's always just like that. You'll see, you probably just caught a glimpse of it. He's always just so cheerful and makes everybody laughs. I do believe he identifies himself as the funniest one-eyed Canadian Egyptian comedian, I think.
I used to. There's 3 more now.
Oh, are you serious?
No.
You have competition?
No.
It's going to be an interesting. You're right. You can't go by that reference. It's going to be an interesting episode, everybody. I'm warning you ahead of time. I was just telling Wafik that I'm having difficulty speaking today, and I'm just not that quick. So Wafik is definitely going to keep me on my toes today because he's always cracking jokes. So like I said, he's been a comedian forever, and I don't know how long it's been, but it's been quite some time.
27 years.
27 years. That's amazing. That is amazing. And it's still really just coming up with amazing material. So if you want to just briefly share your story and tell us who you are and how you got here.
I'm a comedian. You asked me to do your podcast. I love you to death. So I said yes.
And that's how I get my guests sometimes. I just called Wafik and say, hey, do you want to just get on my show, please?
I enjoy my time with you. And it's always fun when I hang out with you.
Yeah, we always get a good laugh. Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah. So tell us just a little bit briefly your history, how you ended up in Canada, and then how you ended up becoming
that's a really interesting story. We're going back to like when I was 3 years old, and Egypt was about to go to war again, and my parents didn't want us to be in Egypt during the war. And the president at the time was Nasser. This is before Sadat, and he was born. I can't remember when he was born, but anybody born his year and before was allowed to leave Canada and leave Egypt and didn't have to serve in the military.
Wow.
Anybody younger than the president would have to serve in the military. My dad was born the same year, so my mom convinced him to move to Canada for a better life. He actually came in 71. We moved here in 72 on my 4th birthday.
Wow. That is amazing. And I know from you have some good bits too. You have your own special on Comedy Now. You talk about coming in and how it was. So I did not know that. I just learned something after 27 years. I just found out something. That is awesome. How did you get into comedy? I've heard something, I've heard because we have a lot of friends in common. We grew we didn't go to school together, but we kind of hung out with the same people.
The same circles, I think.
So I don't know if the story that I heard is the real one, because you know how friends talk. So I just want to know, how did you get it?
The real story is I used to go to Lester B. Pearson's high school in Ottawa, and I had graduated. I'd actually graduated college, and I was working. And my brother was still going to Lester B. Pearson, and he told me that Yuck Yucks was going there. And they were doing a show, and they had this open call to the students and faculty to come up and do some time, do some stand-up before the actual show. And my brother told me about it, and he's like, and I said, yeah, that's cool. And he's like, are you going to go watch? He said, only if you do it. And I said, well, I don't do stand-up. And he said, you should. You're the funniest person I know. And I'd never even thought of doing it. I loved watching all the stand-up back then. I mean, everybody watched Delirious, and I never thought of actually doing it. So I wrote some stuff. They wouldn't let me do it at the school because I wasn't even as an alumni, I couldn't do it. So then the guy that saw my audition said, why don't you just go do the amateur night? You don't even need to do this. And that's exactly what I did. It took 3 shows before I actually became addicted to comedy. It was my third set. But like the first set was, I got drunk. I was nervous. The second set, I was much better. I only did about 1:47 because that's all I could remember. And I got off stage, and the assistant manager actually praised me because he said a lot of times people just stand there trying to kill time, but you did what you did. And you left, and what you did was funny. Come back again. So the third time, I remembered everything. I did it stone cold sober, and I enjoyed the hell out of it.
That's amazing. That is awesome. That's not the story I heard at all. So I'm glad you shared that.
What's the story you heard? Now I'm curious.
I heard that you were sitting in at a comedy show, and the guy was bombing, and I guess your table or started heckling, and the guy said, well, if you think you could do better, come up. And you came up and killed it. That's what
that would have been badass. I don't do badass, man. I have done shows like I've been in the crowd and it's not going well, and I've been asked to get up and be a little spike in the show, and that has happened, and most of the times it works, but no, that I wish I started that way.
Pretty cool, but I like your story still. I like the fact that you say it took 3 tries, or 3 sets for you to actually fall into it. Because a lot of people that get into comedy, they don't realize that you kind of warm up to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I bombed my first time. I glossed over it because it was such a horrible set. The only laugh I did a really bad pun. Can I swear on this show?
Of course.
Okay.
So everybody watch out if your ears are sensitive. Go right ahead.
I did a really bad pun. A woman booed me, and I said, "You can't boo me. It's my first time on stage, you fucking bitch." That was the biggest laugh I got, and I loved it. And I was like, I like that one a lot. I never, not the bit, but I liked the laugh, and I knew I wanted more of that.
Yeah. And
that's actually why I said, okay, but I don't think they want me back. But George, the assistant manager, said, yeah, come back. Nobody gets it the first time. Yeah, maybe next time be sober. I'm like, okay, I can do that.
Well, that's a good one too. Good advice there. So where would you, that's something that's kind of my own personal questions to know more about you, but what's your inspiration for your material? Because you come up, I see your shows often, and you always have something new. So it's never the same set all the time. What inspires you?
I've been watching a lot of Bill Burr and Dave Chappelle. I want to do comedy that isn't easy. You know what I mean? I don't like, it's like, there's so many comedians that go up and do stuff that's easy and safe and they kill, and that's fine. I have some jokes that are really great that I love, and I know they're not going to work all the time, and I'm cool with that now, like, because I know they're funny. And I think that's part of the evolution of a comedian. You just get better and you start knowing like you're not going to kill all the time, especially with certain material. But I don't want to be easy, and I want to talk about things that matter, and that's more along the lines of what I'm doing now.
Yeah, because you do have a broad range of topics, and they're all they can be all controversial. Sometimes
the problem is, sometimes I go to a show and I'm like, these people seem way too nice for what I'm about to do.
Yeah, and then you get the Canadian side of things too, when it starts to get a little spicy or a little controversial, everybody goes quiet.
Yes. Well, especially Ottawa.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, Ottawa's it's a whole other town. um, yeah, I wanted to ask what life looks like through Wafik's eye, because you always, for anybody watching or listening in, this is just how Wafik is. He's always just kind of joking around, very open about anything, and like you say, you talk about some pretty heavy topics at times, but you make it lighter, just the way that you present yourself. So how do you see life? How does life look through your eye?
I think life is just, like knowing that we got a very short time here. If you notice, anything you do, anything you dread, like if you're going to a meeting or something you're not looking forward to, hanging out with family, it's over in a blink. And that's stuff you don't want to do. So imagine how quick things that you do want to do goes by. And that's why I always say, enjoy every second of every second, because it'll be done quick and you'll be looking back going, I didn't enjoy it as much as I should have. I should have been more involved. And that's why the one thing that drives me crazy about my days of when I was on drugs and weed, I lost so much time being in clouds and foggy, and just now the clarity and knowing how much of life I missed. I've gone through 20 years just in a haze.
Right. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
So now I'm just trying to enjoy and make up for that time.
Mm-hmm. And that's good. And I'm glad you brought that up, but I appreciate you bringing that up, because that is the reality of the field that you're in, with when you mentioned about, getting drunk before this set. Yeah. So it is a reality. How long have you been sober? I know you've mentioned that the other day, but I forget.
It'll be 7 years in January 1st. Amazing. I wanted to make a New Year's resolution that I wanted to stick with. And that's exactly what I did, because everybody always said they never work. And I said, well, I didn't go to AA. I didn't go to NA. I just wanted to quit. And I did, and never had a relapse off the drugs. I smoked a little bit of weed after my mom passed away. And I had one drink too many a couple of months ago. So I'll never do that again.
Okay.
But
that's amazing.
The monkey's off my back.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you were able to do it and not slip back into it, then that's good. Well, that's amazing. And because you're in that industry where it's so easily accessible, it's not easy to go cold turkey, and it's there.
Yeah, that's the thing when you're an entertainer. I mean, it's free. A lot of times it's the audience that brings it to you, and you're like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, not easy. Some of the stuff that you talk about, and that's why I wanted to ask you, it's in your early bits, you would talk about the cultural differences from growing up and then hanging out with Canadian friends. And then you also talk, I love your bits about the differences between Canada and the States. But so how do you, because you present it in such a good way, a lot of people could get upset when you start comparing the cultures, but how could you say the cultural differences can be funny, and it can be hilarious, and it
can be. I think one of the things for me is I found a really unique way of being likable, so they know that what I'm saying, I'm not being serious, and I can say some horrible things too, and they let me get away with it because it's behind a smile and a pleasant voice, and like no malicious intent. It just, look, this is this and this is this. It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's harsh. It's stupid. Whatever. And then, I find a way to just bring it across. Very relatable. Yeah,
and that's what I like about it. It's just, and I encourage anybody to look at some of Wafik's videos, and you'll see it just it flows. Like there's no, it wouldn't really upset anybody, which is great.
Oh, it's funny. I got to do on my recording. I didn't think I was going to get to do these bits, but I got to do some stuff that really pushes the envelope. I won't do it here, but like when the album comes out, there's going to be a section of stuff that's that I didn't think would be on there. I might even actually call the track "I Can't Believe This Is On Here."
That's amazing. I can't wait to hear. We'll talk about the recording a little bit later because I definitely want to plug that in there because it's great. Wafik just recently did a live recording, a live album, so we could talk about that a little bit later. What would you say is the hardest thing about being a comedian or getting started as a comedian?
Well, getting started, it's just finding your groove, finding your voice, writing stuff that's good, original, and that's going to get you noticed. Getting on tour, being able to maintain writing and performing as much as you can. The hardest thing about touring, especially through the whole thing, is just the daytime. You're away from your family and your loved ones. That downtime weighs on you, and that's when you start doing drugs, drinking, stuff like that. And that was the thing. I always kept it on the road. It was when it came home with me that I was like, okay, this is a problem. But I had fun with it for a little while, and then I realized, okay, you know what? It is a big problem, and I have to quit. So when you're first starting, it's just a matter of, you know, especially now, it's about letting people know your brand. And writing and performing and building a reputation and having people become fans. Like I still can't get my head around the fact that people are fans. I mean, it's cool that they like my comedy, but to actually call themselves fans is really neat to me.
That's awesome because I am a big fan, and I will always be the one that goes, "Oh, I know him. I know him. We're tight. I know him." So I'll always brag that I know you. So, that's awesome. It's kind of the same question, but what kind of sacrifices have you had to make to stay?
Honestly, in my case, I think both my divorces were because of stand-up comedy. Lost time, even now with family. They have parties and get-togethers that I can't go to because I have a show that night, you know? It's a lot of personal life is lost, but it is for the greater good if you really want this.
Right. Yeah, it's not easy. It is. And there's many comedians do mention that it's hard and it takes a toll on the family life and on the personal life as well.
It does. I mean, if you get rich enough that you're touring and you're doing theaters and, you know, you can fly your spouse in and out to meet you, that's one thing. But, you know, you're on the road 3, 4 weeks, 5 weeks at a time sometimes, and you're not together.
Yeah. And you work late nights too. So even if you are home, you know, by the time you get home, you have to wind down because you're probably all hyped up from the show. So it's not like you can go straight to bed, right?
It amazes people. Like I did a show in Richmond Hill. That's a 4-hour drive from Ottawa. And they're like, you're driving back. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to sleep for 4 hours. I could do this. I mean, at my age, I rolled into town like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. But, you know, adrenaline is fun. And then you get off stage and you still have it in you, you know? Yeah,
that is a big sacrifice. What advice, this is what I like to do on my show is, you know, some kind of wisdom that we wish we would have known when we were younger to make life easier. What advice would you give? What advice would you give people? Take
school seriously. It is so important. I wish I took school more seriously. I wish I had the life that education could have provided, but I was too stupid to realize that the future needs, you got to be involved in the present. You know what I mean? I wish I could go back and tell younger me, get good grades, take school seriously. Life is so much better when you finish university. You can do whatever you want when you graduate, but make sure you have that because nobody can take it from you.
Right. That's nice. Somebody actually mentioned that too in a previous episode. So it's kind of it's funny that you're mentioning that too.
Jen and I talk about it all the time. We wish we did more when we had that opportunity.
Yeah. Wow. That's nice. Look at you doing a public announcement there. That's awesome. All right. What's because you have beautiful children. What kind of is kind of the same, but this is for your own children. What do you want to pass on to your children to make their life easier, aside from say stay in school?
And whatever you do, make sure it's something you want to do the rest of your life. When I was younger, I went into computer programming in school because it was the wave of the future. It was like the late 80s and computer was the future of the world. And it was true. But I only did it because my parents told me to. I didn't do it because I wanted to. So I never graduated. I never cared. I don't know what I would have gone into if I had the choice, maybe advertising or culinary. But I did what they wanted. So, and I think to a certain extent, there's no resentment because I ended up going to where I wanted to, but it would have been nice, if I'd said, "Oh, I'm paying for my own education. Let me take something I want." Because it's whatever you do in the future, once you get to your, 20s and 30s, that's the rest of your life. Make sure you're doing something you want to do.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that because I'm definitely with you on that one where a lot of children are pressured into, or young adults are pressured into going something that they really don't want to, but it's just what their parents want. So it doesn't work.
It's even worse now. I mean, parents are deciding the gender for their own children, and it's no longer about what they're born as. It's just, I don't want to get into that conversation, but I just feel bad for the children today. That's all.
Yeah, no, but it's true that if we can tell our children, just do what you love, because if you don't, and I mean, I've lived that, doing something that I wasn't comfortable with, it eats away at you slowly.
It does.
And then 10, 15 years later, you're just a shell of a person going, how did I get here? So, yeah. We don't want that for our kids, for sure. All right, let's get into the fun stuff. What's new? What do you got going on? You did your live recording. What do you got? What's going on with Wafik right now?
Just performing wherever I can and having fun. Had a really fun summer with the family. We went to the States a lot, went to a couple of concerts. And I think just, like having more meaningful time with my family, really.
Nice.
Everybody's got COVID, but it'll be okay when they're better.
Exactly right. We travel everywhere and come back sick.
Yeah, that's right.
It builds character. That way.
I can't breathe. I can't smell anything. You'll be fine.
You'll be fine. Just drink more water.
That's right. This water has no flavor. Water has no flavor.
There you go. It all works. Yeah, my son he lost his sense of taste, my oldest one. And it's funny because we cook and he's like, is this supposed to taste that way? Because he's upset.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, I can't believe I still don't have it. 2 years later, I still don't have my taste. He's really upset about it.
Wow, really?
Yeah. He got it bad, and actually in 2020. Yeah.
Tell him to come over. I'll make him something he'll taste.
Oh no, I'm afraid to ask.
Lots of salt and pepper.
Okay. All right. That's okay. So I'm like, what are you feeding my child?
I wasn't being perverted.
No. I didn't even think of that. I'm just thinking,
Let's just burn something.
Just burn something. Now, for anybody who's interested, when is the live album coming out?
I'm hoping November. A couple of things to edit, and well, actually, I'm major at it. There's a couple of things to fix up, and then hopefully, yeah, by the end of October. Well, probably not by the end of October. Somewhere before December.
Okay.
I'd like it to be out for Christmas.
Yeah, that would be nice. You've had another album out before, haven't you?
Yeah, I never pulled the trigger and released it. I sent it to XM and it's gotten played on XM radio, but yeah, I never released it to the general population. This one will be for sure.
That's awesome. I can't wait to see it. Before we go on with how we can reach you and how people can follow you, I always ask this question to all my guests. It's a promise I made to a little girl a while back. So the big question is, what do you want to be when you grow up?
I'm being it.
You're doing it, yeah?
Yeah. I got a day job I like. I got a night job I love. And I can dictate my time and energy. I can spend as much time with my family as I want to and not sacrifice them anymore. And that's an amazing thing. I feel bad for the time I lost with the previous people. I can't make up for that. But the people that matter will get my time. And I'm spending as much time with my family because, you know, ultimately nowadays, you do whatever you can, whenever you can. And I feel bad for the time I lost. But like you said earlier, it's part of the sacrifice. Mm-hmm. But I'm not sacrificing as much anymore. And that's a good thing.
That is a good thing. Yeah. And then the fact that you are exactly where you want to be right now, that's incredible. Yeah. That's a huge success story. That's amazing. How can people follow you, reach you, or contact you?
I'm only on Facebook. So I don't understand Instagram. I don't understand Twitter. So Facebook is where you can find me. I perform a lot in Ottawa, and I'll go anywhere that I can drive back the same night, or if you make it worth my while.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's awesome that you get to choose now. You know, you don't have to go everywhere that's being offered. You get to choose what works for you. And I'll put if
somebody calls me and says, "You want to go to Sudbury?" and I'll be like, "Maybe." And then they'll tell me how much, and I'll say yes or no based on that.
That's right. Yeah. And if everything is paid for or not.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, I'll put your Facebook information in the description of this episode and in the comments so people can follow you. And,
I have my fan page they can follow.
Okay, yes. I'll just write this down as well as the fan page. So thank you so much. We kept it clean. I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah, I'm surprised too, actually.
Yeah.
We didn't delve too much into the addiction.
No, unless you want to. It's up to you. But if you're good with this, we could do another episode sometime where we're actually
we should do another
person
episode.
To person. Yeah, person to person, so they can see your dynamic in action. That's awesome.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
It might be more fun.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That we could do one where we could just go back and forth and have a good laugh. So thank you so much for coming on, and for everybody watching. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Follow the channel. Go and check out Wafik on Facebook, on the Book of Faces, and follow him as well. And keep a lookout for his live album that will be coming out hopefully by Christmas. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And for everybody that's watching or listening, until next time, stay safe, stay awesome, and we'll talk soon.